Okay, I'm back. We're gonna do the next part of this dress. I've already cut the table runner that I was going to use this little end piece for. The next layer on the dress, I've already done the technique to gather it, and now I'm just going to add it here at the hemline, I'll call it, down here. I want it to hit right about here, I think, and maybe come up a little on the sides. So I'm going to take it like right across here and tack it down. Okay, yeah, I like the way that lays there. The next layer I'm going to do is a Battenberg piece from a very old tablecloth. The pieces were absolutely delicate but falling apart, and there's even some real spidery thread pieces holding on this bottom part, but it's so delicate and beautiful. I really wanted to use it in here. It was a handmade piece, and I love it. I've used it in the other one as well, the previous piece that I made. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it as the last layer. Well, no, I think I'm going to put one more actually. I just thought of it. I'll put this one on next. I'm just going to adhere it here across the waist. Where's that thing? Best tool ever. And if you get to the mat, it comes with a lot of other pieces to it too. But these are the pieces I use most, the mat and the thing, spatula, whatever you call it. I don't know what to call the thing, but it sure is the thing I pick up the most, it seems, and use. I'm just going to tack this to the back so that that piece on the side starts going around. I'll do that on both sides. Okay, that looks nice. And while I was off camera, the pieces I had originally thought were going to be the ending, I reconsidered that. I have another piece of this wedding hem, and I wanted to go ahead and add it next because I thought it didn't look quite right when I did the bodice part up here, for it to just end up on the Battenberg by itself. Now, what I was going to do is, before I glue all this down, I'll show you. I'm going to fold under this piece here, and then I'm going to put it around the shoulders and let this start to do a drape effect here as I pull it around, and do a few gathers right in here as I glue it. And it's not going to be anything major or difficult, but as you can see, this Battenberg piece became the point, and I did not want that effect right next to each other. So that's why I got another one of these ready. And what I'm going to do instead, same thing to the top, but I'm going to add this little piece right in here so that this point supersedes the Battenberg, so that these two will meet and become like that. I kind of think that looks a little better. And it ended up being glitzy and gorgeous, and I think it'll be a really pretty wall hanging. So I'm going to glue those down. This one's going to be next, and I want that point at a certain spot. If I could remember exactly where I had it just a second ago, that would be perfect. And I think that was close. So that's where I want it, and that's where I'm going to tack it, right there. And then everything else I can work with at that point. But I've got my center matched up to the center of the Battenberg, and that's the most important part. So now I can release it, and from this side I'm going to tack it a little more, keeping it straight. And I don't have to leave all of this up here. Yeah, that's just not going to work to be like that. I want more up here. So, but because I had made the waist on this one so thin and narrow, I am going to leave it on there because I think I want the added waistline. Does that make sense? And I want it to wrap around the edges, which that will do here to here. I am going to trim. I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to go right along this edge right here. It gives me a little cutting spot, seems like right there. Anyhow, that'll work. And then I'll take this little flower off over here. And I'll be able to just wrap that around. That'll work. Let me tack that on the back side. And the top part of this, the upper part I should say, is not going to matter because again it's going to be covered up on the back here. And then the upper part, this piece, is going to cover up that piece on the bodice part. And so I have my point, which is just what I wanted. And then I can come in with this longer piece and make the bodice up at the top. And again, I want to center that point. And fold that over a little so that I can bring it up and around to the back. About right. I might need to do a little dart on either side here, the way I did on the actual pillow part, so that will drape the right direction. This is just called manipulating the fabric, and this is the part that those very talented ladies out there, you know who you are, and we all think of May and Chotty and a lot of you others that can manipulate fabric. Margaret and Michelle, y'all are just, oh, the way your hands work, watching y'all do stuff to make it work for you is amazing. And see, I'm having a little struggle with this right now because I'm not getting what I want. The upper part I am. This part up here I'm pleased with right here. So I think what I'm going to do is just start, because I'm going to start where I like it. So I like this part up here, and so I'm going to tack it on both sides in the back, and making sure I'm at the center because that's where I wanted it. I'm going to tack that down right there, starting here. So I'll have my center, and then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to go ahead and just tack this part right here to the back and this part to the back. And then I know I have a good starting point because I like where I have it, and I don't want that to move right now while I'm working on the rest of it. Let that dry for just a second. Might let that go there too. Okay. Now I can work on this front part and not be hindered by having to hold it. Now I know I want to fold that down, and I want that to stay folded. But then I'm going to push it to make the waist, the bottom of the waist. I'm going to wrap that around, and I'm going to hold it in the back. I actually may just pin that in the back. It would be simpler that way. And since she's stuffed, I'm going to put it right through to the stuffing. That way I won't get poked. And that in and of itself may just give me enough help to manipulate this into the shape I want it, and then to keep pulling it to the back so that I can keep the shape of the dress form. Now see, this is the way my mind thinks when I'm making stuff and working on stuff. So that's what you're hearing. That's what I like to hear y'all do too. I like to hear why you're thinking what you're doing. Wait, I like to hear why you're doing what you're doing. Oh, I can't talk and think at the same time. Isn't that horrible? Sometimes I just can't get words right. I can't come up with the word I'm looking for. And it's difficult to get a thought across, but I hope y'all are catching on what I'm trying to do. Okay, I want that pulled a little tighter right through here. And then the same on this side, a little tighter. So that when she is hanging on the wall or wherever, that she will look tidy and pretty. What do you think? Did I get it right? I don't like that bulge there, so I think I'm going to try to get some glue right down in here and hold that down right here. So I'm going to want to try to get the glue gun right up in here. Yeah. And it helps to have glue in the glue gun. A little bit of that in there, and then press it in. Make sure my points are still straight, and I think that'll hold it in enough so that it'll make the shape of the bust line too. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to work on the back side now. This is the part, again, it's going to be covered. So on the back, I'm not going to worry how bad the back looks. And that'll help me get the next part done without worrying. And I like that too about this project. Having a spot that I can, it's like the bottom of your flowers. You know, that piece of felt that we use on the bottom of the flowers. It can be as messy as it needs to be. It can have more glue on it than any other part of it, which it should. On those flowers we make, see, it has an ugly bottom, but nobody's going to see it unless you look at this video. Nobody's going to see it. They just want to see the top. So that's what I'm doing. This is like the bottom of the flower right here. Now see what I've got here. I'm not so sure that tacked right there. I may have to try that again. No, it's down. Okay, I'm going to pull this part and this part a little tighter, and then I'm going to go ahead and just glue it down in the back where I have it pinned. But I'm going to pull. Pull it and glue it. And hold it while it dries. Getting hot. I'm going to undo my pin. And I'm going to pull the other side. And glue it. Yeah. Sorry if I'm not showing you what I'm doing. I try to remember I'm on camera, but I don't always do that. Y'all ever forget you're recording? Thinking about what you're doing instead of what you're saying? Okay. A little bit right there. I'm going to tack down just to give it extra there and there. And there it is. And I'm glad I stuffed it a little more because I really needed that extra in there to help hold this, make it look right. So now